Well, here we are, Pez and Higgins on location for the Cricket World Cup in America. This will be one of about 18,000 pieces of content we'll be bringing you across every single platform that exists. And this feature interview here today, I think it's up there for me as one of the funniest combinations of kind of person and location that we could arrange. I think we're starting high. I should say from the start, here goes, we're teamed up with Wise for this World Cup. Wise is the app for doing things in other currencies. With Wise, you can send money to more than 50 currencies to more than 160 countries. I used TransferWise back in the day. Here goes, it's changed its name since then. Very helpful for me when I lived in the UK. And the first thing we're doing here, though, is a feature interview with former Australian captain, multi-World Cup winner, Aaron Finch from Dealey Plaza in Dallas, Texas.
Who would have thought?
Dealey Plaza, the site of the assassination of John Fitzgerald Kennedy. We've just been scoping out the grassy knoll, which you can see behind us if you're watching on YouTube. There's some questions. That's all I'm saying. There's a couple of questions around it. Finchy, I didn't think we would be sitting here with you at the site of JFK's assassination one day, but any early thoughts on the way that history is presented to us?
Well, I don't know how to go about this because
he's had a lot to say off here.
Being deep in Texas, I think that we could be in some strife if we say the wrong thing. But
we can turn around and see the book depository there.
Yes, there is a big tree in the way.
Yeah,
that's all I will say.
Right. Yeah.
Doesn't add up.
There's a few things don't quite add up.
Don't quite up.
Yeah.
The angle of the head,
Yeah.
Anyway, say no more.
That's where we are. And why we're here, I don't know. But in America generally, cricket in America, Finchy.
Yes.
Why are we here? What is this? You've played cricket in America.
Yep.
You played for the Unicorns.
Yeah.
Other guys there. Did you play with Stoin? Stoin was there as well.
Matty Wade.
Yeah, Wadey. Yeah. Cricket in America. What is it?
I think it's so untapped. I think the excitement around the Major League Cricket last year, the inaugural T20 competition, which had some heavy investment from India and some IPL teams, which obviously gives it that kickstart. But I think overall, it's something that we saw so many people coming and watching cricket for the first time and loving it. So I think it is truly something that is untapped in this area.
Do you I get the sense that the Aussies love coming to play here. They seem to populate that MLC league more than the other ones.
Yeah.
Why is that? Is it because we grow up with so much American culture? Just the idea of playing here is exciting. I mean, I know for us, it's just a great place to be. It's a fun place to be.
It's a circuit.
Yeah,
we got a lot of work to do, and I've been making that very clear to my family. But there's junket elements to it, I suppose.
I think that one of the main reasons is because it's new. It's exciting. It's never been done before. There's obviously cricket infrastructure in the US, but nothing like a major T20 competition, which is a global comp, which has some of the best players in the world playing in it. You've got heavy Indian investment as well. I mean, so straight away that says that it's something serious. It's something to be taken serious, and I just think it's something different. And I wanted to play it desperately just because it was new and it was unknown, and that's something that I guess when it was announced that it was going ahead, there was always the hope that it would, but there was also that trepidation that you're like, wow, this could fall over at the last minute because the ground hadn't been built out here in Dallas at Grand Prairie Stadium. North Carolina, where we played in Morrisville, it was a public park 6 weeks before the tournament started, so it felt like it could fall over at any stage, but it was brilliant, and all the organisers did a great job, and it was something really cool.
And people came to the games.
They did, yeah. Mainly at the start, the teams with IPL following.
Yeah.
The Texas Super Kings.
Yeah.
Who else was there?
New York.
MI New York.
Yeah.
Washington
Freedom.
Yeah. So whichever the franchises were, KKR.
Yeah.
Yep.
LA. Seattle is the
Seattle
Delhi
Orcas.
team. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're across it.
Yeah. So
and it was cricket, wasn't it? It was a cricket competition they played.
It was cricket, and
I
did play in it. And I did play in it.
Fond memories.
I did have fond memories. It was a great tournament, and I think the
seismic impact on the nation.
Yeah, but there was a lot of people that did come for the first time to watch cricket as well. Some locals.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. Mainly Indian expats.
Yeah.
were following the IPL-based teams. But
Yeah.
apart from that, it was a lot of new people to the game, which is cool.
Yeah.
How do you think Aussies will take in the fact that the World Cup is in America? There's always so much chat around what it means for a sport to be new in a market. Like, has anybody defined what cricket is trying to do here, or what success is? Like, is it simply breaking into the mainstream, whatever that means, or is it more that the US is just a place that permits good infrastructure to set up good, thriving businesses, where it can just seed and be profitable? I don't know what success is, I guess.
No, neither do I. And I probably haven't even thought about that, because I think it's just exciting to be here. And I think based on the US's love of baseball, I think that's the initial comparison that people make. Well, how do we explain cricket to the US? Well, it's similar to baseball, but we can hit it anywhere, pretty much. There's no foul areas, and it's quick, it's action-packed. But I think having the infrastructure now out here, there's a big base, Grand Prairie, where we are in Dallas. Beautiful ground. There's grounds that are popping up. The New York one, which has popped up out of nowhere. Hopefully that encourages better infrastructure for minor league cricket and for cricket to grow here in the future. But what does success look like? Yeah, I never really thought about that, to be honest.
Success probably looks like India, Pakistan, enormous audience. Like that stadium in New York, it actually looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Like 35-ish thousand. But they're talking about that being the most watched sporting event of all time, rivaling the Football World Cup when Messi won the last one, right? So
there's some great numbers around cricket in America, I reckon. There's 2 billion people who are going to watch this game. 50 million are fans here in the US. That's 27 people, give or take. So.
Yeah. But I heard the other day that there's 4 million people on the wait list for tickets for that game, because it sold out so quick.
Yeah.
Was it you telling me the other night scalpers are selling?
I said a lot of things the other night, Finch.
Yeah, me too. And I don't
Do you want to tell us about that?
Not really.
Not really.
There's a lot of people.
really.
If you did a poll of the listeners and the viewers right now, like, would you like Finch and Higgins to talk about their circuit 2 nights ago, or the prospects of cricket in America? I know where my money is.
All I can see is a rifle coming out of that window. so that's all I'm worried about.
What was a bigger inside job, JFK or JL? All right, we got it.
Talking about like success though, Finchy, like you won the World Cup 3 years ago, that one, and that one for you guys, it felt like us against the world. No one thought we could do it.
Yep.
And then you were great form with the toss. You won every toss except for that one game, I think, against England, maybe.
Yep, 6 out of 7.
Oh,
that helps.
Fuck, you were good.
Yeah.
And then did the business. But for this time, like for this Australian side, like they did the most remarkable thing maybe ever in a World Cup, and winning that last one in India in November. So like, there's almost nowhere to go, for them. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, and this is probably the one. If they win this, they hold every ICC trophy,
and that's
huge. So I think that's
and we need that.
We do need it, because
otherwise questions will be asked
about Pat Cummins' leadership.
Ronnie. I would have thought.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even though Mitch Marsh is captain, questions about Pat Cummins.
Exactly. I think there will be people like Cummins has got to go. So mate, he's gone.
Time for a change.
Well, this team's always one step ahead.
Well, the thing, like, it is such a big tournament for that reason as well for Australia. I think there's each team. For India, it's about them trying to win an ICC trophy again since 2011. For Australia, it's about holding all 3. Like, that is ridiculous to think about the impact that Australia's had over 3 formats of the game in the last 5 years, I guess.
Yeah.
But like, very, very few people gave your team in 2021 a chance, myself included. Like, there's lots of formulas in T20 cricket, like teams trying to set the trend of how it should be played. But it seems like one of the edges is like just how a team feels, at the time. Like, you can look at 6 or 7 teams and just go, they've got good players who can take you apart in 2 or 3 overs.
Yep.
It seems like there's a randomness to T20 cricket in that way. So how did your team, apart from tosses and being on the right side of some conditions, like, was there anything special your team did to create vibe or momentum beyond like ski goggles?
I didn't even know that they'd bought the ski goggles.
But seriously, it seems like is the feel or the chemistry of a team
Being in the COVID bubble, that actually played into our hands, I think, because we were so tight as a group. There was like 24/7. You're with everyone in the team. Like you're either in the team room where someone's playing FIFA, or you're sitting in someone's room. Everyone's just sitting around talking shit. You're out playing golf. We were really lucky with where we stayed in Dubai. We had a golf range and a little 9-hole course there, so we were able to get out all the time. And whether it was a few beers, just hitting balls on the range, or just hanging out talking cricket, it was all fun. And I think that sometimes that gets overlooked at times when there's so much pressure on, and there's generally a lot of distractions around World Cups, particularly in places that families want to visit as well. Like there'll be guys going out for dinner with their families, or they'll be going out with their kids, or guys don't really hang around together that much when you're in environments like that. So that was probably the main difference, that there was no option. Everyone just had to come together and have a good time.
Did you get a vibe, or any time you played a World Cup or playing for Australia generally, that like we're Australia and the other teams like fear Australia just because?
A little bit.
I mean, like warranted, because Australia's won a lot of things.
Yeah. But
I just feel like even for Australia now, Australia's got a really good team and a really good chance, I think, of winning this World Cup. But India are favourites every time they go into any tournament because of the depth of talent they have, right? But fuck, they fear Australia, and I just get that sense with England as well. Maybe not more recent times because England's white ball program's been so good. But did you feel that when you were playing, like, fuck, the opposition is scared of us here?
At times, and
tunnel
I think
stuff.
Tunnel stuff.
Stand in the tunnel.
Stand in the tunnel.
Look at you.
Yeah, it's funny being on the other side of it now and being in the media. When I was in India for the World Cup, everyone kept saying, even though Australia's lost the first two games, they're still the team to beat. I was thinking, the way that they're playing at the moment, they're not. Like, they weren't playing good cricket in the first couple of games. They were really poor against South Africa in the second game. Got convincingly beaten by India in the first game.
Right.
But everyone was just talking about the aura of the Australian cricket team in World Cup. So that's something that you feel a little bit, and you hear it talked about when you're playing, but then to hear it so consistently and so often when you're on the other side of it was unbelievable. And I think that goes back to Australia having a great record in World Cups from 87 to 99, and then to win 3 in a row. India won 2011, we won 2019. It's been an unbelievable run.
Is that why this World Cup, for English fans out there, yes, we know you won it in 2019. Finch meant 2015. But is that why this World Cup is dangerous for Australia? Because we're now so bloated with trophies that even, you know, like, for example, like Adam Zampa gets like his motivation from claiming the receipts of people who've been questioning the team. But we're so bloated with trophies now, there's no receipts to claim. So I'm actually wondering whether we should sit here and just start abusing the team.
Well, generally a good one to start with is David Warner.
Right, yeah. So what are we saying?
Got to go.
Too old, eyes painted on?
Yeah, absolutely. Because every time his back's against the wall, he produces it and wins a World Cup. So if you two,
I think they should have picked
if you two can really pedal that one for us, that'd be nice.
Well, who else can we go through everybody as well? Hetty, any danger of a run in the latter stages of the IPL?
Don't you reckon Starkey's a bit slingy, doesn't it? Sort of
Starkey's bowled his good balls for this year.
Hetty a bit loose outside off.
Mitch Marsh, any danger?
Stoin, get your kit bag together.
Stoin. JL didn't give you a bowl.
Glenn Maxwell, troubling form, Glenn Maxwell. I worry about Glenn.
Yeah, so there you go. There's some receipts for Zam.
Exactly.
You know he's going to ring you straight away.
Totally.
Well, what's it to us?
Well, I mean, this is what was good, you know, and promising for Australia. In the warm-up games, they played with 9 players and a couple of like staff. They got dusted by the West Indies. So essentially, we've got the tournament right where we want it.
Well, the warm-up matches mean nothing really.
I want to hear that.
Yeah.
Well, your heart rate doesn't get up for them. There's no. You find a way as a player to justify if you don't get any runs. So it's a warm-up game. I don't care.
Exactly.
And if you get runs, you're like, oh yeah, I'm feeling great.
Well, that's why Maxie's going to take it by storm because he's been saving his runs.
He's saved all his runs.
It'd be unbelievable. But back him for player of the tournament. He bats, bowls, fields. He'll be in the action. He'll get the job done under pressure. 3-time World Cup winner. It's a pretty good record.
Fuck, that's good.
Yeah. Can I go X's and O's on this a little bit? So, Aussies in West Indian conditions. I'm arrogantly going to assume Australia's going to make it through. Absolute royal commission if they don't.
To the second round?
To Super 8.
Super 8.
So, They'll play a variety of conditions, but is it fair to say the Caribbean is characterised by low, slow spin? And if that's the case, like how does Australia match up to India, Sri Lanka and the West Indies? You know, so, I mean, India has 4 spinners. Sri Lanka will be teaming with spinners.
Yep.
West Indies are the home nation who play the conditions more than anybody else. You know,
well,
that seems like a pretty close group to me.
Yeah, and that's another reason why the selection of David Warner is so important, to have a left-hander who can potentially get in and bat through the middle. Either him or Travis Head bats right deep into the innings. I think that then takes away the strength of a lot of oppositions who will come at Australia with left arm spin or leg spin in particular. So that's really important. Adam Zampa's as good as anyone in the world, so that match-up cancels itself out. Glenn Maxwell is better than a part-time spinner. Ashton Agar in the squad. Whether they go with 2 spinners, I don't think they will at the start. I think that as the tournament goes on, they probably will at some point. They'll have to go with almost 3 spinners with Maxi in there as well. Playing in India in the 50 over World Cup, people thought that was going to be the issue as well, that you could beat Australia with spin, and there was another trophy in the cabinet. So yeah, it'll be a challenge, no doubt. But I think India's pace at the top with Bumrah and their spin with Kuldeep, Jadeja, Chahal, Axar Patel, that's pretty good as well.
That's pretty good.
You're talking about, sorry...
Wouldn't surprise me if they played 4 spinners at one stage either.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's 3 guys who take it away from the right-hander. But like, what about India's batting? You know, like, you just mentioned before, one of Australia's strategies may be for an opener or a left-hander to bat deep, which means, you know, that they might not completely tee off in the power play. So do you think that's what batting strategies will be like in the West Indies? It'll be more about, you know, wickets in hand, 160 winning score kind of thing, and to that end, what do you make of India's batting?
I don't think that it's going to be a 250 style World Cup. There'll be a few scores like that, just with some mismatches in opposition, I think. But IPL, I think that's a different game altogether, in my opinion, to what international T20 cricket is. You've got the sub. You also name your team after the toss. So your team's already weighted towards whether you're batting or bowling first, and then you can sub a player out. So that provides an opportunity for teams to go harder. I don't think it'll be like that in this World Cup. I think the power play will be important. Teams will still go hard to try and get ahead of the game if the wicket does slow down, but it's not going to be 125 with Sunrisers put on at one point there. So India, for that reason, say it's a 180 style tournament, 180 to 200, then I think India have got a very good side for it.
A guy like that's perfectly suited to Kohli, right?
Absolutely. He can bat long into the innings. He still strikes above 150. You've got guys at the top. Jaiswal, he's a gun. He's unbelievable. He tees off. And with Rohit Sharma at the top, I think that they'll go as hard as they can until one of them gets out. Once Virat then gets in, then the other one continues to go really hard, because you know that once he gets in, he's batting for a long time. So it'll be a great World Cup, I think.
I think Shivam Dubé as well on their side, if he plays, like just taking down spin. Like he's so aggressive in the IPL.
First ball.
Yeah.
Sixes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're just talking about like how many good teams there are in this World Cup. All these guys, like look at South Africa's power in the middle, you know. Quinton de Kock opening the batting as well. Great players, great bowlers. You know, Shamsi, excellent spinner. But like, I think people are sleeping on the West Indies, because I reckon they're sort of a few rungs below in most people's consciousness and who's going to be competing this World Cup. I look at their power, their skill set with spin especially. I reckon they beat Australia the other night in that warm-up game. Just a warm-up game, I know, but I reckon
that's what we wanted.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah, to be fair,
concerned if Australia won that game.
Nicholas Puran got 75 of 25.
Hey,
well, he played in the Major League Cricket final, and he hit 150 off like 40 balls, didn't he? In the final. I'm telling you, like, so last year they played cricket here in America, right?
I was here.
Anyway, West Indies. Thoughts? Do you think they'll be? good?
I've got them in my top 4.
Yeah. Okay.
So my top 4, I had India, Australia, England, West Indies, and I don't think they're a smoky, because I think they've got so much T20 experience, they've got so much T20 class. Their bowlings, I think, will be the only issue. Like if a team gets on top of them, and I think particularly if you're chasing a total, I think anything's possible. Akil Hussain's a very good spinner, so but they'll be so dangerous. I mean, Dre Russ, Nicholas Pooran, Shimron Hetmeyer.
Yeah.
Like, they're three of the biggest hitters in world cricket. So much experience. It's just whether they can bring it all together, which is the only issue with the West Indies, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's unfashionable to discuss England being good at cricket as an Australian, but they are good at cricket, and they are the defending champions. And I haven't heard them mentioned in many dispatches as a top tier contender, but surely to like the cricketer like yourself, they are. I mean, they're very well covered across all the skill sets.
They're
right?
very good.
Yeah.
They're very good. They've got. I guess their bowling, again, like most teams in this World Cup, will be the thing that comes under the most pressure.
How big is Jofra's inclusion for them?
Huge, and if he can stay fit for the tournament, that's huge for them, because I mean, he bowls up he gets wickets up front, he gets wickets at the end. He's a three-phase bowler, so he's huge for them. Adil Rashid, I think he's huge as a spinner through the middle. Joss Butler leading them. They had a shocking 50-over World Cup. But it's a different format. They play it so well. Phil Salt, Will Jacks, these guys are coming off really good form and a lot of confidence. And probably before the IPL, they would have flown under the radar a little bit more than what they will now, because they've been so good. So, they'll be tough to beat as well. I think a lot of it will come down to the toss again. It's going to be one of those World Cups. A lot of the games are played in the daytime.
Yeah, so tell us about conditions in the West Indies. Like we understand in India. Like, I mean, if you follow the IPL and listen to each captain post any game, essentially that dew factor is the first thing they point to, or how well they assessed conditions and then used them. I mean, what are the anomalies of conditions in the West Indies we should be looking out for? Does dew come into play later on? Is it?
I don't think so. I don't think as much as what it does in the subcontinent. The wickets, they can get dewy, but not to the extent that you see in India or Dubai, where we won the World Cup, where it was just flooded. Like, you could barely bowl with it towards the end of an innings. So there's some day games, depending on who's playing. Like, Australia play 10:30 game or a 5 o'clock game, something like that, local time. So if you put a big total on the board, the wicket can slow up. But depending on where you play as well, like Barbados is a good wicket, St Lucia's a good wicket, Guyana turns, Antigua turns a little bit. It's a bit slower. So, you've got to have teams that are adaptable to all the conditions and make sure that you're flexible with your selection as well. I don't think that you can just go into the games with one plan. I think you have to be really adjusting for every condition that you come up against.
We're just talking about, like, generally success in cricket in America. We're talking about, like, what is success for the Australian team. And I wonder, like, when you were captain, every time we went into a tournament, was success purely win? We have to win. Is success only for Australia winning it?
Well, not really. I'd say 2015 World Cup, yes, that was... We had to win it. It was at home. We were probably the best team in the world at the time. 2019 was Smith and Warner had just come back after their ban. We hadn't played great cricket in the lead-up for the 12 months before. So I thought reaching the semi-finals was probably a win in that regard. Yes, you want to win it, and you still think that you can win it, but we got some injuries at the end there. 2020, no one really gave us a chance. So it was just, I think, during that tournament, it was about making the semi-finals again. And so, especially T20, if you make the semis, I think that's a tick for all teams. Because it's so hard, and it's on the day. It can be a toss.
Exactly.
So I think a tick in most tournaments is semi-final.
What do you think about the future of this Australian team? Like, winning trophies earns players the right to continue as they age, but does that borrow against the future a little bit? Like, are we ensuring some lean years by permitting a glut of experienced players to play on? Does that even matter?
It's a good question. I don't think so. I reckon that there's enough cricket that gets played around the world now that guys are getting enough opportunity to play in high pressure environments. I think after this T20 World Cup, you'll see Warner finishing, obviously. I'd be surprised if all the quicks continued on in the two white ball formats post this T20 World Cup. So I think that the priority of Test cricket is there for those three in particular. Stark, Cummins, Hazelwood. Does everyone always mention them in that order? Stark,
Yeah, I
Cummins,
think
Hazelwood?
so. Yeah.
I
It
do.
just rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Cummins, Hazelwood, Stark. Is it like,
Do you?
No, I don't know.
No.
No, put it to the viewers.
But I don't think so.
It's like the big three, like they're banks.
Yeah.
You know?
Too big to fail.
Yeah, too big to fail, like Joe Burns.
I don't get that.
No, it's a niche. It's a niche joke.
How does Nathan Ellis play?
That'll be a tough selection call game one because I think
he's so good.
He's so good, particularly on slower wickets.
Right.
Where there's a little bit of hold in the wicket, his slower ball becomes more effective, and I think the fact that he's got his stock ball pace up is really key. I think a lot of times, and I've seen it over the years with different bowlers.
I think someone just yelled out, "How's that?"
Like it's a great cricket game.
Yes,
This is
right.
great cricket.
So,
What's happening here?
I think a Ford Bronco just drove over JFK's ex and yelled, "How's that?"
There's a bit going on.
Yeah, that's right. Am I in a dream?
Yeah.
Nathan Ellis.
Nathan,
yeah.
sorry,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Good
Nathan,
player, but
very
not big
good.
three.
Yeah.
So when I've seen it a lot with guys like AJ Ty, Tom Curran. It happened to. There's a few other Daniel Sams. When their stock ball pace drops, their slow ball becomes so much less effective because there's no fear that a bouncer or a Yorker can beat you with pace on. So then their slower ball becomes less effective and they start going around the park a bit more. Nathan Ellis' stock ball pace is up.
Yeah.
So for me, that's huge. Who he would play for, I've got no idea.
It's
Because
probably Hazelwood, isn't it? I think
geez.
Cummins' batting's too good.
You're not picking Pat Cummins for his batting.
No, but you know what I mean. Like, he scored some good runs for the Sunrisers this year.
Yeah. But
yeah.
if you're picking a guy to at
just,
number 8,
that's
Yeah.
true.
So you're saying Cummo might be in the firing line?
I don't think so. I don't think Hazelwood
It'd
is.
please a lot of people.
And I don't think why.
Oh, just the general detractors of Pat Cummins, despite all of his success
Why?
in Australia. Well, his politics, frankly.
That's nothing to do with cricket.
I agree. I'm a messenger here.
Well, I think you should keep politics out of sport. That's just my opinion.
But we keep asking him for money.
Yeah. That's right. Just sit in front of the depository. Finchie, are you a futurist when it comes to cricket? Like, do you feel T20 is the best product through which to grow the game in new markets? Do you think the format should have a more central role in how cricket is played into the future? Are you a T10 guy, or are you more of a traditionalist who's like, I love my tests?
I love tests.
Yeah.
I love watching tests. I love playing it for the 5 opportunities I got. But I think T20 is the way into the future markets, into growing the eights. Cricket's such a unique sport. It's hard to say to somebody, come and watch for 5 days and we mightn't have a result. And they'll say, what are you talking about? I'm not bothering. And it's not just a 3 or 4 hour day. It's 6 hours plus half an hour. There'll be slow over, right? So you're going for 7 hours of cricket time. That's a lot to ask of people. T10, I've only ever played it once, and that was in a Legends League in Florida last year, actually, after the MLC. That was amazing. You could play 12, so I didn't have to field a lot either. Even though I was the youngest in the side, but I was the only. Myself and Jark Callis were the only 2 who didn't bowl in that tournament. So
what he's doing with these Legends Leagues? Because you've got another one coming up in the UK, don't you?
In the
Is that
UK,
right?
yeah. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. Is that not meant to be announced or something? You're looking at me strangely.
No, that's been announced.
Yeah.
That's
What would I mean?
playing for the Australian
talk about
champions.
junkers.
Yeah, they're good. They're nice. My family, they were here for the one last year because we travelled around the States a lot. They'll be in the UK for this one, so it's just nice to play every now and then.
What's that like? Because you guys are all, anyone who plays in these games, right? Like to the average, to the outsider, like, oh, these guys have retired, so it's probably a little bit of fun. But you're all still throbbers. Yeah, you're all still throbbers who are ex-pro athletes only recently.
Gets taken so serious.
Yeah. And
athlete brain. Yeah.
Like white line
you've
fever.
retired because everyone's eyes have gone, etc. But it's only relative, right? So who can still play into their old age?
Jark Callis, he's one who
really?
can.
What a player!
What a player! He's a goat.
Underrated.
In my
Still
opinion,
underrated.
he's the best player ever.
Yeah, go on.
It's probably between him and Sobers if you're talking about a pure. And I never saw Sobers, so that's why I say Callis. So to say best ever, maybe going too far. But
what about Don Bradman?
But I didn't see him play.
Okay. So you need to see him with your own eyes.
I don't have to.
Yeah.
But
are you suggesting that, like, Bradman, you just put him on the back stool and Just give him sniffs.
Well, Douglas Jardine had success with it.
Jardine was just sniffs.
Yeah.
He was sniffs.
But all you can do is compare guys to the next best in their era, right?
Yeah.
That's the way I think that. So Bradman was twice as good as the next best. Whereas if you look at, say, the era not long gone with Tendulkar, Lara, Ponting, Sangakkara, Callis, these guys, they were all around. They were all from 60 to 50. Their averages. So, like, yes, they're great players, but none of them were double. Like, imagine someone averaging 120 and then saying to Steve Smith, like, I'm twice as good as you.
Yeah.
Like, that's what Bradman was like.
Exactly.
So, yes, he's probably the greatest ever.
Yeah.
But I think as an all-round bat bowl field, Callis is, he's got to be up there, doesn't he?
Oh, it has to be, yeah. And never won anything of meaning, like a World Cup.
Yeah.
South Africa's never even made a final. They've never won a semi-final in any World Cup. They've never been in the final. That is wild, isn't it?
Yep.
So they got the biggest monkey on the back, South Africa.
Oh, yeah.
South Africa's the hipster's choice for every World
I'd be
Cup.
happy if South
Actually,
Africa,
great team.
if South Africa got the business done, I'm okay with that.
You can say that
For a
because
T20.
we don't regard them as a threat. You know, like it's easy. Like you always develop a soft spot for any team that
Mate,
doesn't
I'm in
threaten
Dallas,
you.
I'm having a good time.
Yeah,
We're going
yeah.
to New York soon. It's going to be,
Exactly.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Can Australia have one off here?
You're doing a live show with Ravi Shastri.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
he's the GOAT.
It should be good.
He's... Take a good bottle of red with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you know what he likes?
Yeah, do you know what he likes?
Red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want. I imagine turning up with like a bottle of red that he just goes, "Oh, this is cat piss." You know, Sam, this is acidic.
I refuse to do this show.
That's right.
This is absolute cat piss.
He's a great man, Ravi.
Yeah, he's been great to deal with.
But South Africa, in all seriousness,
yeah.
they've got all the tools. But I think that even though a lot of these guys wouldn't have even been born or had so young in '99 when they choked, I guess you could say.
It's DNA, isn't it?
It's
I mean,
DNA,
same thing with the
though.
Aussies,
And they talk
you know?
about
It's
it.
generational
They talk
trauma.
about it, do they?
They talk about it,
Yeah, right.
how they can get over it. Like, I can't imagine sitting in a team meeting saying, what are we going to do if we get to a semi-final? Like, how do we get over this? None of these guys have been a part of it, really. Like, 50 over World Cup, they were just outplayed in the semi-final.
Yeah.
If they caught well, they still should have defended a modest total against Australia, but they didn't take chances.
Well, what would you say to South Africans listening as a captain who's been to semi-finals and essentially grown a third leg because you're Australian and play well?
Don't worry about the result.
Yeah,
Like, no one's
paradox.
No one's expecting you to win anyway. Well, they're not really.
I love that.
Is that how you feel going into semis and stuff though? Like, is it given Australians
freedom?
step up?
What's the worst that can happen? You lose a game of cricket. If that's the worst thing that happens in your
You're
year,
regarded as a perennial failure, somebody who diminishes under pressure.
for 3 or 4 days,
Yeah, well,
and then everyone forgets about it, unless you win. So what are you worried about?
Stubbsy. Yeah.
It's a message.
There's a
Message
message to South Africa.
Yeah.
Stubbsy's listening.
Yep.
Anything else from you?
No.
Aaron Finch,
I've
thanks
had a
so
nice
much
time.
thanks so much for joining us from Dealey Plaza, Dallas.
Never thought you would have said that.
To discuss
From
the Cricket World Cup in America with the great cricketer. Finchy, very much appreciate your time.
Thanks,
this has
guys.
been thanks to Wise. Thanks to Wise for enabling this as well. Have a great circuit.
Cheers.